back, everybody. This is Froese with Two Beards and a Board Game, and today we're going to learn how to play Dice Throne. This is a game I recently got off Kickstarter. It takes about 20 to 40 minutes. 8 years and older, 2 to 6 players. Setup is pretty simple on this game. One thing to note, that if you have the Kickstarter edition, you're going to have 6 characters. Each character is going to have a complexity rating. You can see that on the inside of your instruction manual here. Rated from 1 all the way to 5. So if you're playing with some younger people, you might want to give them some of the easier characters to play with. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to take your character boards here. Each person is going to select a character. They all have a range of abilities and kind of do different things. And then once they select a character, you're going to make sure they also get their play card as well that has all of their abilities on it. Got a bunch of tokens here. You could pre-pop these out if you want to. We kind of have a tendency to leave them in the cardboard and just pop them out as needed. And then each player is going to get a tray. Now the cool thing about this is these trays just come out. You can hand each player a tray that matches their character. Each tray should have the dice for the character. The Kickstarter edition has the spinner dials for health and combat points. And then each character has its own deck of cards. You're going to want to go ahead and shuffle those cards up. Okay, we're going to take a quick second to talk about the different ways to play this game. On the last page of your manual, you'll find game variations. This game can play 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, or up to 6 free-for-all. Now, you're going to want to reference this page to find out how much health you start with, as well as how you target players as it changes from game modes. There's also a simplified version of the game, but in general, let's say you're playing 2 versus 2, you're going to start with 50 health. Then you also start with 2 CP, so set your dial here to 2 combat points. Once you've got your deck shuffled up, go ahead and draw yourself 4 cards. Alright, there are a couple of cards types that you need to know about. One of them is an action card. This one gets played during the main phase. So you can see here you pay 2 CP. You can transfer 1 status effect from target player to any other target player. This is an instant action card. You play 1 CP to do this. You can play this at any time, as noted by the icon up here. And then this is an upgrade card. Upgrade cards can be played only during the main phases of the game, and you're going to pay the CP cost, and once you've paid the CP cost, you're going to upgrade whatever ability it is that you're using. So that would upgrade that to Burning Soul 2. Now, one thing to note is that you do not have to go in order. There is more than likely a Burning Soul 3 as well. If you have Burning Soul 3, you can pay the CP cost and still play it on Burning Soul, even if you don't already have Burning Soul 2 down. However, if you do have Burning Soul 2 down, and you draw into Burning Soul 3, you only need to pay the CP difference to play Burning Soul 3. So if Burning Soul 3 costs 3 CP, and you've already played Burning Soul 2, it would cost 1 CP less to play. So this game has a couple of phases. If you've ever played Magic the Gathering, you'll recognize some of these turns. You have your first thing that happens is your upkeep phase. That's where you take care of any status effects that you may have on you, such as Burn. A player afflicted with this token is dealt 2 damage during the upkeep phase of their turn, and Persistent just means that it continues to happen. So during the upkeep phase, you would take 2 damage. Then you have your income phase. If you have less than 15 CP, which is the max on the dial here, you're going to gain 1 CP every turn, and then you're going to draw one card from your deck to put into your hand. Now, it's important to note that the person that goes first skips their income phase for the first round. Next is going to be your main phase. On your main phase, you are allowed to play any cards that say main phase action using your CP. You can also play any upgrade cards, such as this one. So if you want to play Ignite 2, upgrade that ability, it costs 2 CP, so you're just going to spend your 2 CP, go down to 1, find your Ignite ability, and go ahead and place that on top to upgrade it. Next comes your offensive roll phase. So what you're going to do here is you're going to take your 5 dice, you're going to roll them, and you're going to go through and compare your results to any abilities that you may want to use. Now you can re-roll any amount of dice up to 2 times. So on my first roll, I've got 2 fires here. Okay, so we'll roll again. All right, now we got 3 flames here and 2 of these little Bernie guys. Let's see what we can do. Well, with these 3, we can use Fireball, deal 4 damage. Let's go ahead and see if we can't upgrade our Fireball. We've got one more chance to roll the die. Oh, looks like we didn't get any more. So, after you're done rolling, you can choose to activate an ability. Now, the way this works is most of the time you're just going to be matching up your symbols. For Fireball, you can use 3 of those to deal 4 damage. The numbers do matter occasionally, so with a small straight, you can activate Hot Streak. So that would be 4 numbers in a row. Some of the abilities do have large straights as well. Ignite 2 has a large straight ability. So you're going to want to pay attention to the symbols on your die as well as the numbers. In any case, we're going to go ahead and just activate that Fireball. This is where things get a little tricky depending on how many people you're playing with. Is deciding who it is you're going to target. So in a 2-on-2 game, I have 2 options for targets. According to the rules, I'm going to roll 1 die. 1 to 2 targets the opponent on my left. 3 to 4 targets the opponent on my right. 5 allows me to choose which of them I will target. And 6 allows you to choose your target. I'm sorry, 5 allows the opponent to choose which one of them is going to get targeted. And 6 allows you to choose your target. So I got a 5. In this instance, my opponents would be allowed to choose which one of the 2 of them they want to be targeted with my attack. Once the target is settled, you'll just find out how much damage you're going to do, which is going to be 4 with this Fireball. I'm also going to gain a Fire Mastery. And you can look at your board here. Fire Mastery tokens look like this. So I'll pop out a Fire Mastery token. And I get to hold on to that. The Pyromancer uses those occasionally to do things. So there's 4 damage going to my opponent. They will roll their die to, depending on how much their defense is, they'll roll their die to block damage. They can also deal damage back. And other side effects may happen as well. Once you've resolved your attack, you have a second main phase. It's essentially identical to the first main phase. You can play any additional cards that you have. You might have gained some CP during your attack, so you might have a little bit more than you did before. And so you can play any additional cards that you want to on this phase. Once you're done with that, you just go to your discard phase. If you have more than 6 cards in your hand, you have to sell down to 6. So you can sell at any time. You can sell a card, put it in your discard pile, and you gain 1 CP for that. Now that's optional unless you have more than 6 at the end of your turn. If you have 8 cards, you have to sell 2 of them. You'll gain the CP for them just like if you were selling them voluntarily. And then you move on to the next player's turn. Now, if you do end up getting targeted by an attack, you do have the option to make a defense roll. The Pyromancer gets 5 defense die. There are characters that get less than that, and they all have different abilities while you're doing it. Some of them let you defend against damage coming in. Some of them let you deal damage to your attacker. The Pyromancer only deals damage. There's no defending. And then you can also gain 1 Fire Mastery. So let's say I have 5 damage coming at me from an opponent. I'm just going to roll my die here. And it says, for every one of the flames, I deal 1 damage back. So in this case, I would be dealing 2 damage back to my attacker. And then for each one of the little burning people, I would get 1 Fire Mastery. Now I got a bunch of these meteor-looking guys, so I don't get any Fire Masteries this turn. However, I did get to deal 2 damage back to my opponent. Now, the whole point of the game is to just bring your opponent down to 0 life. You'll take turns rolling your offensive dice, matched with rolling your defensive dice when you're being attacked. It's very important that you keep track of your abilities and what everything does. There is a lot to learn when it comes to this game. As I said earlier in the video, when you start, you may want to use the Barbarian. Is a little bit more straightforward. He doesn't have nearly as many abilities. Also, make sure while you're playing to pay attention to your action cards. Now, these can be a big help. They may let you re-roll die, draw extra cards, change your die faces so that they match up better so that you can use your ultimate ability. Well, that's pretty much it for Dice Throne. We appreciate you watching the video. Go ahead and give us a like and a subscribe. And check out our review video of Dice Throne as well. We'll put the link in the comments. Have a good one.